Hey dolls, welcome to Pinkies podcast. This episode may contain some naughty language, so if you're a delicate doll, bye bitch. But before you go, please hit like and subscribe. Thanks, honeys. Hi guys, welcome back to Pinkies podcast. Thank you so much for coming back. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's bloody fabulous. And today I have yet another iconic boss babe. I mean, what else can you expect? This is the owner of Secret Smile Aesthetics. I should know that because I frequent her premises. And she has masters in cosmetic medicine, a PG dip, am I getting this right? Bachelor's in adult nursing, and she is a nurse prescriber. She's fully qualified to zhuzh your face, babes. Basically, that's what I'm saying. It's Kate Elliot. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for that introduction.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
So I'm just glad I got it right because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't usually write that much information down, but I was like, I have to get this right. So yeah, you are fully qualified.
To be fair, it's took me 10 years.
It's taken you 10 years, yeah. She's not done this in a 2-day course.
No.
But we'll get back to that. So I always like to start with how we met.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to tell us how we met?
I'm going to tell you, but you can say why you can't say that.
Because we have a confidentiality agreement and I would break my code.
That is mad, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So you were just saying that before and I was like, gosh, there's so many rules that people aren't sticking to. Yeah. So we're going to get to all that. But yeah, how we met was, so I was having treatments for my friend in Preston and I would not let anyone touch my face, honey. I was like terrified, but my friend was qualified out of control like you know, she's been a nurse for years. Yeah, she'd worked in gynae, plastics, palliative care. She just, you know, if you wanted a nurse to look after you, she was the one. Yeah, like you.
Amazing.
It was just the trip going back all the time for top ups and things like that, because it was my first time ever having like Botox. So I was, honest to God, I cannot tell you how terrified I was. So really? Terrified. Honestly, I was just like, oh my God, I'm into my face. And so I only really trusted her. But like I say, the to and froing back to Preston from Scotland was a lot. So I can't remember. I think it was somebody in the salon had said, oh, I see this woman. She's amazing. She's only up the road. And I was like, oh, right, okay. So I was checking out your socials and stuff. And because I needed the backup, I messaged my friend, Janine, and I said, what do you think of this lady? And she was like, she checked you out thoroughly. She said she went back to the first post. She said, I was like, oh. And she was like, mate, she said, she is the one. Oh, and I was like, how amazing.
Just shows you don't even realise that's going on in the background.
This is it. But like you know, she's qualified and she could see from your socials as well that, you know, you're not posting buy one, get your friend free. Yeah. There's no like before and afters. There's not a lot of that kind of phishing content. I don't want to call it phishing because I know some people like to advertise in that way and that's totally fine. You know, they want to see results. But I think she said she's coming from more of a medical background, which gives you that safe feeling. Yeah. You know, you feel like you're with somebody who
that's all I
knows
want.
what they're doing.
Yeah. That is all I want. Just for you to feel safe.
Totally. And I think, and like I say, Janine, she is in Preston. If anybody wants to get treatments in Preston, I would highly recommend her, and she highly recommends you here as well, which is amazing. Right. So cool. Excellent. So yeah, so that's how we met. So came to your amazing clinic.
Oh, thank you.
In Clydebank. And I think, did I come near Christmas? Because you had an insane door decoration. And I nearly stole it.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been right up your street because we changed it last year.
Yeah.
So I used to have the total traditional, and I'll tell you the girl's name in a sec. She does all my stuff.
Oh,
but
right.
We went very traditional when we first started all that, and it was all the reds and greens and things and the nutcrackers. But obviously you've met Nicola, and I'll probably talk about her a lot during this. But
I love Nicola.
She's just Mrs. Christmas, but she's pink like you. She just loves pink, everything pink. In Christmas, and then we'd kind of totally exhausted the whole red and green traditional Christmas, and she says, can we mix it up next year? So I messaged Karen and says, look, we're looking for a new kind of theme, and we want all the pinks and the blues and everything, and that's the idea she came up with, and then she sent us a few kind of, as she was working along, do you like this? And then that's what we ended up with.
Absolutely incredible.
It's beautiful.
It's just like, it was like a door wreath that's like the whole way around the door, but it was like, there was so much depth to it. It's like, wow, where does she even begin?
Even like a few months later, when I'm upstairs and we've got store cupboards upstairs, when I'm up there and I'm footing about, I'm like, oh my God, there's a ice cream cone in there. There's a, do you know, like, you don't even realise where you bought it.
Well, we're gonna link her because we like to promote other business.
Ribbons. She's from Clydebank as well.
Oh, cool.
Busy working mum. She's just amazing. She's like, my daughter is obsessed with Tim Burton. We went to see Beetlejuice last night.
Did you?
And she's just been obsessed with him for the word go. And Coraline's her favourite thing in the whole world. And Karen made me this beautiful wreath for her room. We were doing up her room and I wanted something Coraline themed, and it's just gorgeous. I want to show you a picture.
Oh my gosh, she'd love my house. Everything's black and white stripes in my house.
Is it? Oh, that's just right up her street.
Oh, she'd love it.
But yeah, so if you need anything, like one of my friends wanted The Nightmare Before Christmas, so she did a theme about that. Like anything you want, she does it.
I'm definitely getting in touch with her. I'm going to link her below because we love to support
she's
women in business.
Yeah, she's very good.
So I came to you initially for Botox treatment. So, and I can't even see, ladies out there, if you've had this treatment before, and guys, it's such a, I don't know, it's such a safe feeling straight away because you feel like you're in a medical centre. Does that make sense?
Good, excellent, yeah. That is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally. So that's the vibe of Secret Smile. And it's, you know, you've got Nicola, who's
she's
just,
great.
She's so sweet and she's very calming.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she has a calming vibe about her. She just looks after you, doesn't she? So, like, how did it come about and how did you meet Nicola? How did the whole thing start? Because I remember you telling me your background in nursing, but I think people would really be interested.
It genuinely would. Remember before this we were talking about right place at the right time?
Yeah.
It was kind of that. It was kind of by accident. I was obviously nursing. So I'd done time at the old Southern General in Glasgow, it's now the Queen Elizabeth. I'd done that first for a while in a trauma unit, which was obviously fast paced, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it, and you just never knew what was coming through the door. But within 2 years,
dealt with everything.
Yeah,
wow.
So many crazy things, you know. And I went in a newbie thinking I can't do this. To 6 months later, running a trauma ward on a Saturday night in the middle of Govan, and you can imagine the stuff that would come through the door.
Wow.
So that really, really helped. And I genuinely feel like anybody that tries to get into my job should go and do something like that first.
Yeah.
Do 2 years somewhere really fast paced.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily need to be surgical the way I did. It could be medical, but you need a background first. Then started having my kids, so the hours were awful. Like, you never got away on time. You were always there 2-3 hours after your shift because it was just hectic. Yeah. So I moved into community and I covered this area, you know, like Dumbarton, the Vale, Ballock, all that.
Okay, so it's like community nursing.
Community nursing.
So you visit people.
So I visit them in their home. Sometimes I would do like treatment rooms, but mainly house visits, which I absolutely loved. I'd probably still be there to this day if I hadn't ended up where I ended up, but I'll tell you how that happened. But so the hours were great. I had my 2 kids, things were going okay. I'd literally just had my second and he was a baby. He was a couple of months old, and people had started mentioning Botox. So it's been
when
around.
When was this then?
This was roughly about 10 and a half years ago.
Wow, okay.
So it's been getting used in cosmetics for 20 years, although it's been getting used in medicine since the 80s.
Right.
But for 20 years now it's been in cosmetics, but really only about 10 years ago it hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So everybody started kind of whispering about it, and a couple of my friends were like, "You're a nurse, you could do that for me." And then my sister-in-law, she's heavily involved in the beauty industry as well, and she was like, "Oh, you could start doing my lips." So I kind of thought about it for a wee while, spoke to my husband. My husband is very much the backbone of what I do. He's there. He's like you and Paul.
Yeah.
He is there.
Yeah.
You don't see him, you don't hear him, but he's very much involved, and he helps me with everything.
Love that.
He's
total
amazing.
Support.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I've got him on one side and I've got Nicola on the other. That's how I do it. It's not just me. There's 3 of us. But so I'd been chatting to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, just go for it." But we just had another baby, and I was shattered, and I was like, "I don't know if I can run my own business." All that kind of jazz.
It's scary.
It is. Yeah. But it was very much right place at the right time. I did the foundation course. And at that time, you only needed to have your nursing degree, although things changed and people quickly realised they could go in the back door, but we'll obviously talk about that.
Yeah. So at that point you had your nursing degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have my prescribing. I got that through my community job.
Oh, okay.
But that came a wee bit
later. And you've been doing that for years and years at this point.
Yeah, aye.
Yeah.
So I think I started Botox in 2015 and then went through my prescribing in 2016, which helped massively because you do need that if you want to do what I do.
Yeah.
So I did my first foundation course, totally got the bug for it. It's so interesting. You just want to keep learning and want to keep learning. There's so much to it.
But you do, because this is what I'm saying about you. It's like you're not just,
I can't sit in my bum.
No, and you live and breathe it. Like you just, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just, you are the one to go to. It's just, I just feel like you really, every little thing. It's like as you're doing the treatment, you're going, and there's this, and and I'm going, wow, this is interesting, But you can tell that you just love it so much.
I genuinely do.
Yeah.
And I've always liked biology. I've always been obsessed, and I've always loved research nursing as well. It's just what I like, and it keeps me going.
And your socials is full of you going to new seminars and workshops and all sorts of things. It's amazing.
But I also go to the scary ones, so there's one that I go to once a year, and it's nurses, dentists, doctors, surgeons. They put themselves on a stage and they tell you what went wrong.
Wow,
because I couldn't sit here and say, oh, you shouldn't go to a medical practitioner over a non-medical practitioner or vice versa. It's not one versus the other. Things go wrong no matter who you are. I would be lying if I said if you went to a health practitioner, nothing's going to go wrong.
Exactly.
We're all human.
Exactly.
And everybody reacts differently to these products.
This is it. And in these short courses that are about now, how do you learn those fundamentals?
Exactly.
How?
You need to build it up over time, and you need to join organisations like the one I said that I go to. So to be a member of that, you need to be a healthcare practitioner. So these people that are putting themselves on the stage once a year, they're vulnerable. They're as high as you can go. Most of them, they're the max fax surgeons that put people's faces back together after a road traffic accident. But they've had a dodgy Botox, or they've had a dodgy filler, or their patient took a strange immune reaction that they just couldn't figure out.
He always says that like he's not here. He has to put his little tooth pen off it. And anyway, carry on.
Their patients not reacted the way they wanted them to, and something bad has happened. But the key point being, they know how to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying. So this is the thing with you, because you would think, anybody going to that would think, shit, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore.
There was one guy from Australia, and my heart went out to him. He put himself on that stage and he explained that he did manage to block this lady's supratracheal artery, which is, it causes blindness. It leads back to the ophthalmic artery, and it is so rare. The chances of this happening are slim to none. The guy had just had a terrible time, and he
and was it the first time he treated this woman?
No, I think they had a really good rapport.
Wow.
Which I think helped, obviously, because he was so calm with her. He explained the whole situation. He thought really quickly in his mind, right, where did I put the filler? What could have went wrong there? And then he backtracked so that he could then reverse what went wrong, and he's got his ultrasound machine, which is what I offer in the clinic now as well. If you can find it with an ultrasound machine, then you're not wasting a lot of time.
Oh wow, so you can just do that in-house?
Yeah. So you just put the ultrasound machine on, figure out obviously where you went, and if you follow the arterial line, where things are going. And you've got branches off the arteries that are called perforators. If you can figure out which perforator got blocked, happy days, you will fix that in 20 minutes. But if you've not got that knowledge, and you've not got the medications that are only prescription only, so you need a prescriber for that. If you've not got the ultrasound machine, it's going to take a wee bit longer.
And
hopefully
got to get
you've
to
got
hospital,
other measures in place.
You've got to wait in A&E. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, go and fix me quick. And time is of the essence.
And what if they're not specialised in A&E? What if they've never seen this before?
This is it. My gosh.
But so he was able to think rationally, right, this is where I put it, this is likely where it's went, and got his ultrasound machine on, and he did it, and they had a good rapport together. But then further down the line, somebody reported him to whatever the Australian Nursing Council's called.
Oh my gosh.
But he'd been vulnerable and put that story online with that patient's permission, and it was supposed to be an educational thing. And somebody decided to report him, and then he got suspended, and and he's fine now. Everything's great, and I think it was a good 6 months or so of investigations, rightly so. There was a complaint made, they had to investigate it.
Wow.
But you put yourself on that stage and told all he has. But now I know what to do in that situation, so I'm happy that you did that, you know.
Exactly, so you're learning all the time.
All the time,
yeah. And this is what I'm saying about, you know, we're not here going, oh yeah, get this, it's great, and there's no risks, and that's not what we're saying. There's so many risks, and this is why you have to have somebody that is properly qualified, because that gives you an extra safety net, really. Because if you're going to some... I don't even want to say a salon. Sometimes it's a wooden shack in someone's back garden, do you know?
Exactly.
And the thing is, the first thing maybe you should ask is, have you got an ultrasound machine? I think a lot of people listening to this wouldn't even know that. They wouldn't even begin to think, oh yeah, well, that's helpful. If they just think, oh, I just want smooth skin, or I just want big lips, or I want this, But really do your research. And I say this, I must, honest to God, I feel like I bloody repeat myself all the time, but I've said it on so many podcasts that I am a bit of a freak, and I research everything.
I like that. Like, I prefer people to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, do your research. People message me all the time saying, I don't mean to sound rude, but are you a nurse? And I go, yeah, absolutely. What do you want to know?
Yeah. Here's all the qualifications. And that's what I'm saying about your socials. It's very informative. It's very clinical. It's very medical. And to me, that's what drew me to you, I think.
Good.
Yeah,
Good, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, and then, you know, it is difficult. And this is why I wanted you to come on this podcast, to kind of get this information to people, to go, it isn't just a high street treatment. This is a medical procedure.
Treatment.
Yeah.
And remember we were chatting before, and I think you went, was it Tenerife you went?
Yes.
And you were saying it was so different over there. And that's the thing, it is so different. And people don't realise that this has become normal.
Yeah.
You know,
so
and every other shop does injections. That's not normal
It
anywhere
is not.
else.
The UK is not normal. Like, when you'd said this to me, but then when I went to Tenerife, that was the first time me actually
you see it.
Looking about to go, there's nobody does aesthetics here. Nobody's doing it.
Because legally you're only allowed to be a doctor. Well, in Tenerife it's even more strict.
Is it? Right.
You can do it as a nurse, but you need doctor oversight, and they have to be in the building while you do it.
Wow.
And then France, they don't even allow that. It's only doctors. I wouldn't be allowed to do it.
Wow.
It's crazy, but this has become normalised. This is what. So then, if you try and speak out and try and educate, they go, "Well, stay in your own lane," or whatever. And I'm like, I am more than happy to stay in my own lane. Anything I see online, I use that as fuel to better my own business. I can't control what other people do.
You can't, but at the same time, I know you're like me and you worry about people.
I do worry about people, you know, and as long as you educate them, it's up to them to make a decision on what best suits their health, you know. And some of these girls that are out there that are not medical professionals, they're trying their best.
I know.
They are. They're busy working mums that wanted a better life for their kids and seen an opportunity, and that's great. But do it the right way.
I know.
You know, do it legally. In Scotland, you need to do this with a prescriber, and the prescriber must register your building with Healthcare Improvement Scotland.
See, now, how are people getting by that?
Because not all health professionals are good people.
That is crazy, isn't
so
it?
the prescribers are dodgy as well. I couldn't sit here and say, oh, your medics are so much better than your non-medics. No, they're not. There's plenty of dodgy medics out there. They know they need to register with Healthcare Improvement Scotland. It costs a fortune. There's so much paperwork that that's what I do. I work every Sunday doing my paperwork, you know.
Wow, okay.
They don't want to do that. They want to make a quick buck. So then they are telling these poor girls, don't tell anybody who I am.
Wow.
Aye. So you've got them, so they're trying their best, those girls, right? They're trying to do what's right, and I've nothing but respect for them, but do it right. Register with Healthcare Improvement Scotland.
And we're saying this, and it's not from a place of, well, you shouldn't be doing this. It's a place of, you know, knowledge is power.
Safety.
Yeah, it's safety. And you know, if you don't have the knowledge, it's really risky. You know, you're taking a huge risk, and it's not just for your own credibility for the future. It's for somebody else's being. It's for somebody else's face or whatever part of the body that you're doing what you're doing. Like, because I know there's obviously, I mean, so you do like a vast range of treatments now. So what is it that you offer at the moment?
So mainly injectables, I would say. You've got obviously your Botox. There's 5 legal brands in Britain that we can use, and obviously there's a lot of illegal brands that get used, and people don't need to use a prescriber for that, so they just buy it from China, which is obviously
and that's another thing, ladies. When was the last time you asked what product do you use?
It is? So there's 5 that
do you
are
remember
allowed.
I asked you that?
Aye.
Just saying, gold star for me.
You did, I remember.
I love that.
But there's only 5 that we should be using. Then you've got fillers, which I love, but I feel there's a time and a place for fillers. Like, I don't feel as though you should do your snatch packages or your 5ml packages, because I need to see you face to face first. I need to know what you need. We need to see where you're at in the ageing process. What have you lost? What do we need to put back in? Respect the anatomy you used to have. Only replace what you've lost. Because if you only replace what you've lost, you'll still look like you. But if we enhance things that didn't exist in the first place, then it becomes alienization.
So I'm so glad you've said this, because me and you have seen a few things, and I've gone, oh my gosh, and you're like, it's literally what they're talking about, all these seminars now, this alienization, that it's just not normal.
Aye, it's just everywhere now, isn't it?
Well, that's it, it's not normal, but it is normal now. It's the weirdest thing. And I'd seen something the other day, I think I'd shown you this, I'm not going to name and shame, but if you like that look, that's
Fair
you.
enough.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
you. But I think they were calling it like brat's lips and things like this. And I was just like, oh my God. But the sad thing about it is these people are beautiful on the before picture. And it's just, where is it coming from? I mean, I know because I've had and still do have body dysmorphia. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think all women do. I think all women do. I think a lot of men do as well. But I do think it's, I don't like to say like I know everything, but I do feel like it is more women. You know, I know a lot of women, I know a lot of men, and I do feel like it's more of a female thing where it's, something's not right or we're never happy. But it's because we're constantly being shown things online of what the beauty standards are, and it's like, it's very difficult to come away from that and just go, well, what are my standards? What do I want? And people will say, well, you're having treatments done, and it's like, yeah, but as I said to you before, a lot of people haven't even noticed.
Haven't mentioned, though.
Not noticed. So it's like, we're talking about the the fillers, but so you did my lips, and I mean, most people know because I tell them. Because I love it. Like, I just, I'm just really like, oh, okay, what do you think? And they're just like, oh, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, my lips, and they're like, oh my God, this look amazing. I mean, I literally came out of your clinic and went into Superdrug. I was telling everyone in the shop, and I got you 2 new customers. I literally go in there now, and she's like, oh, I've just booked it. I meant to tell you about her, actually. And then I was chatting away to a member of the staff, and it was funny because she was looking at me, and I was asking her, it was for eye cream, and I was looking for some stuff. She's like, there's this stuff here. And she was, when you just, because you're so aware of your face, I thought, is she looking at me funny? Is she looking at me? I was like, I've just had my lips done. She was like, what? What? And I started telling her, and she was like, oh my God, they look amazing. Like, I wouldn't even know. And I was like, I know, it's so good, isn't it? But this is a thing where what you do is, it's not even noticeable, which is amazing. Good. It's fresh.
Oh,
I like to call what you do a refresh. I feel like you have the potion.
I feel like I usually use the word rejuvenation.
Yes.
I use it all the time.
Oh, I love that.
A
little
just
zhuzh.
looking to rejuvenate.
A zhuzh.
But I couldn't honestly sit here and say I've loved every set of lips that I've done, or I've loved every cheek filler that I've done. There's been times where I've hated it, and I've went, can you come back in? I want to fix that.
Yeah.
But I will always fix it. I will always say to them if I'm not happy.
But that's part of you is being an artist, because my friends like that with tattoos, and they'll go, God, I've seen this girl, she came back and had a tattoo, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I'd have done something. Do you know, like there is that, there's always that, whatever, and that shows that you care about your job.
Yeah, and I don't want people to be afraid to message me, so that's why I more often than not book them in for a 2-week review, because even if they're happy, say they weren't happy, they might not pick up the phone. They might be too scared to approach me. So if you're booked in for a 2-week review, there's a good chance you're going to tell me what you're not happy about, and then I've got an opportunity to fix it.
Exactly. Do you know, that's, and you're no different to any other medical professional in that sense that cares about their job, because the guy, when I had my breast augmentation, he said he was showing me some before and afters and stuff, and he was like, oh, and there's this woman, he said, but she wouldn't come back for the after picture, and because he did a basically fixed a situation, and he was like, she's just going, oh no, Mr. Chu, I'm happy, and he's like, I really want you to come back so I can get the pictures, but because he is an artist.
Aye.
He's like you, it's like it's not just there you go, £100, see you later.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's you care
It's
about
very
your
much,
clients.
obviously I want you to be happy, and I'm delighted when the customer tells me they're happy.
Yeah.
But I need to be happy as well. And
Yeah.
a lot of the times, you won't get somebody more critical than me of
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll keep saying,
Yeah.
I feel as though that could have been better. Can we do this? Can we do that? And probably to my own detriment sometimes, but I just
Yeah.
want everybody to be happy, and then when I'm
Yeah.
happy I can sleep at night as
Exactly, and that's, you know, everybody, all these people, all these amazing ladies walking around your advert, you know, whether they want
Aye,
to tell
true.
people or not, but
true.
you know, I tell everyone. So
well. But yeah, I do. There has been times where I've thought, I don't like those lips. I want to start again. Can we start again? Or maybe they've messaged and said, could I just come in quickly and check this? And then, then you've got to run down on a Friday night after work. You know, you've just got to be there for them. You don't get a choice.
But you care, and that's amazing. This is what I'm saying. This is why I recommend you to everybody and anybody, because I do, you know, like you say, you're well versed in, if something was to go wrong, you know what to do as well.
And if I don't know, then I've got a safety net, you know, I've got a wee network around me as well. So I think that's really important for anybody that's doing my job.
Of course.
Make your safety group. And it's a few different things I've got in place. You know, I've got a contingency plan if I go off sick. I've got a 24-hour helpline I can phone that's got medics at the other side of it that will talk me through it. They'll FaceTime me because they're in London, but they'll talk me through it.
That's amazing.
Things like that. I'm part of a Scottish group. They're called SMASG. Can't remember exactly what that stands for, but it's an acronym. But they're amazing. The work they've done in the last year has been phenomenal. You don't really see a lot of it. And remember I says to you, can we wait and do this in September because something was coming out?
Yeah.
So basically, they've had a couple of roundtable talks, and they went to Parliament, they went to Holyrood and got to sit down with some folk just recently. So now they're going to do a public consultation in the next 2 months, I think it is. So the public will get to say what they want.
Wow, okay.
Which they've done that in England before, and collected data, but I don't know, their laws are different for ours, so I don't know what's happening
because this group
there.
are trying to get the laws changed, aren't they, basically? Yeah, to make it safer.
To be in line with every other country, you know, because we are different to every other country.
Yeah.
So this is the furthest we've came, and it was thanks to the SMASG group, because nothing had happened, nothing had moved forward since. Have you heard of the KEOG report?
Yes. Yeah.
So nothing had really moved forward since then.
People might not
various
know.
reasons.
People might not know what that is, though.
Yeah, basically there was a traumatic event. Somebody had passed away, and this Sir Keogh was tasked with doing the investigation, and then he was to come out with recommendations on how we move forward with public health. And one of his main recommendations was regulate the aesthetics industry.
Yeah.
And any prescriptions that you're doing for cosmetics must be face to face. And obviously nobody sticks to that. Nobody sticks to that.
No.
Which I think is terrible, because how do I know what you need? I need to see you face to face, you know. The vials all come in similar sizes, so chances are if you need one area, I get this size of vial. If you need 2 or 3, I get that size. But it's more, you know, maybe you've booked in for 3, but you didn't actually need 3. So we need to see you first.
That's what I'm saying about you as well, because when I first came to you, it was like, well, we'll put you in for a consultation first and just see how
Let's
that
figure
goes.
it out, yeah.
But, you know, some places you can just go, right, I want, you know, it's like choosing off a menu, and you just go and they just shove it in your face, and it's like,
how do you know you needed that?
That's what I'm saying. This is the thing. I really hope this is resonating with people that are thinking about having treatments, or they're already having treatments. They might really love the person that they're going to, but just really think about, you know, what knowledge they have, and what qualifications. Because I remember, because I was really interested in it, and Janine, my friend, she was telling me about, is it aspirating the needle? Yeah. So she was saying that when they would go in with fillers, that they would go in but then draw the needle back before they inject. Now people might go, whoa, why? But it's to see if you're in
a vessel.
Yeah.
But you want to hear something really controversial?
Oh, right, okay.
I don't aspirate.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Right.
So I used to aspirate.
Okay.
And then I did a workshop with a doctor, and he is phenomenal, travels the world. He is the best in the business, Dr. Lee Walker. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No.
He's a Scouser. He's just phenomenal. He's just at the forefront of everything that goes on in British aesthetics.
Wow.
And he was very against it, and I was like, no, but I need to know. I need to go to bed at night and know that I aspirated every injection. And he's like, tell me why you're doing it, Kate. And I went, so as I know if I'm in a vessel. And he's like, can you 100% guarantee that your hand didn't move? You know, when you're drawing back, did you did the bevel of the needle stay exactly? The lumen of an artery is minuscule. Like it's some of them can be as thin as hair, you know. So how do you know your bevel, that when you drew back, did you accidentally pull back a wee tiny bit as well? You know?
Okay.
Or you've pulled back, no problem.
So but when you plunged as well, isn't it?
But when you plunged forward, did it push forward a tiny wee bit? Did it go through the other side of the lumen of the artery? Did you kebab the artery? You know, like how do you know you stayed in the exact same spot?
Gosh, it's so
and he was able to prove that
isn't
you technically don't stay in the exact same spot, but I'm all for it, and if that helps the practitioner, do it. Absolutely do it, because it's an extra wee step.
Because I've known somebody do that before when they were doing. Is it what is this?
Philtrums.
And they were going in to do it, but it literally drew back blood tissue.
And there's 2 columns there that you do not want to touch. So I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But so his answer, I said to him, well, I need another way of doing this. Yeah. So I went and did his complications course, and I'd done a few before, but nothing like his. And he just basically taught me depth. Wow. Always know your depth. Always, no matter what area you're looking at, what are you worried about in that area? What likely depth is it going to be, because every patient's different.
That's another thing.
Go above or below that depth, and then you'll be fine, you know. So that's what I did. I worked on that for like a year, just constant. I bought his book, everything. So now if you ask me, then I'm going to tell you, you know, like if I'm going here, well, if we're going here, I'm going to go pretty deep. I'm going to go right down to the bone. But the further down this nasolabial fold, I'm going to come up and I'm going to go shallow. We're going to go subcutaneous, because the artery gets a wee bit, you know, it changes as we go on, you know. So in some places it's deep, in some places it's shallow.
And that's like you say, everybody is different. And you know, it's even things like, say, like makeup artists. I mean, I've done makeup for years, and when I was doing that more as like a full-time thing, you know, I would look at some makeup artists, and no matter what age the client was, they all had the same makeup on. And I was like, yeah, that's, you know, you're literally putting the same face on an 18-year-old as you would on a 45-year-old.
Oh, which would never work.
This is what I'm saying. So it was like...
Is it more like a sort of protocol?
Well, I think it's just, you know, it's the same. Do you know what I mean? It's obviously not as, like, invasive, but in makeup now, you know, there's a lot of people that are, you know, they've learnt off YouTube, which is, it's just putting makeup on people's faces, you would think. But there's that, you can give people skin diseases, you can give them infections. You know, if you don't know how, if you don't know kosh, you don't know how to
properly.
Exactly, this is another thing. And people joke about, oh, I've not cleaned my makeup brushes for like 6 months, and it's like, yeah, but you're hoping your makeup artist isn't like that, because you could get eye infections, you could get, you know, my mum is a lecturer in specialist makeup, and she... we would start with like remedial camouflage, and that was quite medical. We would help people cover like birthmarks and things like that. But you had to know people's allergies, and you had to know how to do patch testing. You know, I've had patch tests before and gone, that can't be right. Like, I went for lash extensions, and they were like, oh, I'm going to have to do a patch test. And I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine, thinking I'm going to get a bit of the glue somewhere. They put a lash on. And I was thinking... See if I was going to have a reaction. Well, it's on my eye. You know? So you think, it's very strange, isn't it? It is a weird... I bet everybody's taught in different ways, but there should be, you know, a one road for this. But it's I want to say it's the same for makeup, but there is that thing of like, oh, I'm a makeup artist, and you've learnt off YouTube.
My husband says the same. He's an electrician, and he said basically the same. Anybody could go on YouTube and learn how to wire. He said, but do they know what load it should be? Do they know what current should run through that? And if you've already calculated those things, will that cable still work 10 years later? Will it still keep your house safe 10 years later? So, but then they could say, but I watched it on YouTube and I ordered stuff online from China. Like, it's the same thing no matter what industry we're talking about.
It totally is.
But I think the world's went like that. We're very much...
We want it now.
We want it now. We want it yesterday. We are very more capable of doing things. And
I do love empowering people to start their own business.
Definitely,
you know,
absolutely.
I do love that, but I go get qualified. I'm like, whenever I see young people, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, and I'm like, do everything. You know, get the education while it's free. Because now if I want to do something, I have to pay for it. You know, so there's certain courses I might think, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, you've got to pay for it. So, you know, you do need to be a yes man, like, in life. You do. And get the experiences. And Laura that was here, Laura McGuinness, she said the same thing of like, get out in the world and just take every experience, because it's not only going to help your being, it's going to help your business.
I totally agree with that. Because it's not just about that exact thing you're offering. It's the 50 million things you see in the background of running a business as well, isn't it? You need the life experience,
You really do. And that's one thing with you as well. So it's not just, you know, all these seminars that you're going to all the time. It's the life experience that you've had, every walk of life, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously treated newborn babies to people, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, in their hundreds probably.
104 was my oldest.
There you go.
104, and she could still touch her toes at 104.
Oh, bless her. That's so cute.
She was amazing.
So that's the thing. I think there's a all-rounding knowledge from you.
But it never ends. So, you know, I was saying Dr. Lee, who I would listen to all day.
Yeah.
He obviously taught me, you know your anatomy rather than aspirate.
Yeah.
And aspirate was always the way forward, and now it's know your anatomy.
Because you're going in blind.
Yeah,
that's it. But if you know what's underneath,
But then that led on to ultrasound. So when I did my ultrasound training, I did 6 months online with a doctor in Amsterdam. She's one of the best in the world when it comes to facial ultrasound. Then I went to Amsterdam to learn from her for a while as well, and she was in the middle of doing a clinical trial, because if you know your depth and you know where most folks' anatomy sits, then when you're doing a nose filler, you would stay close to the bone and you'd stay in the midline, right?
Okay.
And that would be what they thought would be 99% of people. Their nasalis artery runs down the sides, so stay in the midline and stay deep, right?
Right, okay.
Then I go over to Amsterdam and I'm studying under her, and she was in the middle of a trial, and she said, no, don't do any noses without ultrasound, because during this trial she's collected so many people. She's ultrasounding noses. She wasn't doing any treatments on anybody. She was just ultrasounding everybody's nose, and 18% of the however many 100 people she scanned, 18% of them, their nasalis artery was running over the midline.
Oh.
Now, if you stuck to your normal protocol,
oh gosh,
you were in trouble. Almost 1 in 5 people, 1 in 5 noses that I could have been in serious trouble.
Wow.
If I'd stuck to my normal protocol.
Oh my gosh.
So I just think ultrasound is the way forward.
My gosh, you're hardcore, do you know that?
I know.
You're proper hardcore that you do this job.
I know, honestly, it's scary, but I love it, because there's just so much. She told me that I had broke my nose when I was younger.
Really?
I had no idea. I still don't know how I broke my nose, but she told me. So I went over.
Gosh.
She went through each part of your face and what, you know, anatomical landmarks she wanted me to be able to find with the ultrasound machine, and then she would sign me off.
Wow.
So we moved on to the nose, and obviously she's saying, right, I want you to be able to find the bone, the cartilage, the soft tissue, the muscle, blah, blah, blah. So she split us into groups of 3, and we were all to scan each other.
Yeah.
And then she would come round and make sure we'd found all these bits. So I'm lying down, I was a model first, and this girl, who's just a delegate like me, still trying to learn it, puts it on, and I could feel her shuffling about for a bit. And she's going, I'm really confused. That's not the way she showed us. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with my nose? And
you're lying there going, oh shit.
But then I was like, right, don't panic. She's new as well. We're just struggling to find these things. Then the other girl tried it, and she's going, no, you're right. And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with my nose?
Oh my God.
So then the Dr. Leone came over, and she just went like that with ultrasound right on my nose. She went, oh, when did you break your nose? And I was like,
oh my God.
I broke my nose? And she's like, yeah, your nose is broke. And then I sat up and she showed me it on the screen, and sure enough, there was a break in the bone. And
that's mental.
But then obviously there's about 20 of us there, and she's like, come on round everybody and see a broken nose.
Is it, isn't it? Then you become the guinea pig of like, everyone come and look.
Like, oh my God. But the whole time I'm lying there, I'm going, when the fuck did you break your nose?
That is too funny. I bet you were like that. Right, parents, what the hell? Like,
I still don't know.
That's insane.
I don't know. I must have been drunk or something. I don't know. I've no clue.
I think it's from childhood. She thinks it's when she was steaming. So yeah, I love that. And you've never had any like breathing problems or anything?
Absolutely not.
Because I think he's got a deviated septum.
Does he snore?
Yeah. Big time. Oh, can we get the ultrasound on him?
We'll check.
Yes.
We'll check you.
Aye. When Paul comes for his facial zhuzh,
we'll just pat that on and see.
We'll check it out. So you can have an operation on that, can't you?
Yeah. But I don't have any problems. And my hubby says the only time I snore is if I'm drunk, which is hardly ever. I don't drink much. But so yeah, it's fine. Must have just been a nice wee clean break.
Wowzers. They can't do anything for a broken nose, though, can they?
Not really, unless it's severe. I think they need to go in. But
God, that's mental. So you learn things about yourself as well.
I couldn't believe it. Like, come back from Amsterdam, I've got a broken nose.
I love that.
But so long story short, you're never safe, I don't think. You need to triple check everything. Yeah. And then hope for the best.
And that's what Kate does, by the way.
Yeah.
Triple checks it, and she's a badass.
Oh, thank you.
So she's just doing the damn thing. So you do the anti-wrinkle, you do fillers.
Skin boosters is a huge thing in my clinic.
Skin boosters, yeah. So I tried that.
Yeah.
Under my eyes. I just felt like it took ages to work.
Did it?
Yeah.
There is different ones, so we could maybe try a different one on you next time. I always kind of try and start with the nicest, the smoothest one, you know, the one that's not too many milligrams, so what you overdo things. So
that's what I mean about you as well. That's another thing. You go in very cautiously. So there's always a first treatment. It's just a bit, and because I've spoken to people before and gone, oh, well, I've had this, you know, well, it didn't do anything. And it's like, yeah, well, you've got to go back.
Just go back and chat.
Yeah, because they're going to be cautious. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't want someone whacking that shit in your face. Do you know what I mean? And they're like just hoping for the best. So that is better to go in cautiously.
See, because I do that, chances are I'll probably give you a complimentary treatment. I don't put that online or anything, but Nicola will back me up. Every other day I'm like, I kind of underdosed you that first time. That was on me because I was a wee bit unsure. Yeah. But with your third one, I'll give you that one as a wee complimentary one. You know, I do things like that all the time. Nobody sees it. Yeah. Just the customer knows they've went away with a wee complimentary treatment.
Well, I know, like, when you did my lips, because I know, oh God, I can't remember the mil now, but, you know, people were saying, oh, yeah, just go in, like, 5 mil, like, that's what you're going to want, or 10 mil, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, when you research, which is what I did, it was like, don't do that because you're going to get major swelling. It's going to be more so. Yeah. And it's only going to...
It's hydrophilic. It loves water. And you might only... You might only swell up by, you know, 10%, but Paul might attract 25% volume, you know, so we need to be careful.
Go in cautiously, this is the thing. Yeah, but I think people just go, oh no, standard, I'll have the standard, well, I'll pay that much, and it's like, just think about it, just step back and think about it and do your research. But I definitely, because I didn't have any bruising really, I think I would had like one little bruise.
Oh, good.
But it was there was nothing, so I was just like, it makes a lot of sense to go in cautiously.
I do love skin boosters. They're the newest thing.
So if
you
explain to people what that is, because that's a hyaluronic, isn't it?
Mainly hyaluronic. That's the biggest one that's out there. That's the most popular one, and there's different variations for that. Like I was saying, it's all milligrams per mil, so we can chop and change what we're doing with the hyaluronic, and that's a naturally occurring carbohydrate that your body makes, you know, so it's something that you already make. When fillers is hyaluronic as well, but they've done this thing called cross-linking where they've changed the shape of it. So it's a thick bouncy mesh, and then, you know, if it's a cheek filler you want it to be really thick bouncy, and if it's a lip filler you want it to be nice and soft because that's such a mobile area, you want that to move along with the lips. Whereas with skin boosters, they haven't changed it. They haven't cross-linked it. They've kept it the same. So the one that you make is like your natural lubricant, you know, it lubricates all your mucous membranes, your joints. It's your natural hydrator and plumper for your skin. So they keep it roughly 94% biocompatible with the one that you already make.
And so that is the thing that with age starts to
deplete. Your wee fibroblasts that make it, they're going to sleep. They start to go to sleep when you're like 25, so we've not got much hope there. So if we just add a bit more in,
and it's like putting eye cream inside
under, because there's only so far that can penetrate the skin. So if we inject it ever so slightly, just in the dermis, you're only going ever so slightly deeper.
So do skin boosters, do you just do them under the eye, or do you do them other places?
Anywhere. You can go anywhere. It's just that different ones work better in different places, you know. So we have got the hyaluronic acid ones, right, and there's different ones in that range where you can just go under the eyes. See the one that I would do maybe around your mouth, we would never put that under the eyes. That's too much weight. It would.
And why would people have it round their mouth?
Have you ever seen your older ladies and they've got what's called glycation, which is like
is it like pitting
almost? And it almost looks like wee squares. It's basically a change in the shape of the collagen. The collagen molecule grabs onto a glucose molecule, and it, instead of being these nice circular sort of shapes, they turn almost square. And you'll notice it more now that I've mentioned it. It's called glycation, right? And it's very popular in your older ladies that are kind of broaching 60s and 70s. And there really isn't much you can do about it apart from skin boosting.
Is it maybe like people that smoke and stuff as well might have
that's more to do with the fact that they're constantly pouting, you know, so that it's like folding a sheet. They're folding all the time, but they will get glycation as well. So we want something really hard hitting there because that's thick dermis that's changed shape, you know, so we need to get in there.
And what do you think about like skin boosters, like younger people? Like what's the youngest you treat in the clinic? For like, is there an age for all treatments?
I'd say most people that come in my clinic are over 30.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a group of 20 to 30, but it's I tend not to, I very, very rarely agree to Botox. Very, very rarely. There'll be a really good reason for it.
Yeah.
The 20s to 30s, I say, come in for a bit of skin boosting and lips usually.
Yeah.
Or the odd person that maybe just, you know, they do need a wee
just
bit in
need
their
a bit
chin.
of your rejuve.
Just to put the golden ratio in, because they maybe do have a wee bit of an underbite, and it makes them self-conscious. So we will do a wee bit there.
Yes, there's corrective things like that. But I think, like, how do you feel about like the anti-wrinkle treatments and stuff? Do you say it's like a preventative, or does there need to be something there already? Because I'm
on the fence.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because I didn't even really think about it for me. And then I'd seen a few things, like other people getting things done, and I thought, why? And then when I started to look, I thought, I do get some lines that are just staying there. But you know what? It wasn't even so much the lines for me. It was more the migraine relief.
Oh, yeah. Aye.
So, because I didn't even really notice at first, but I thought, I'm going to try this anyway. And touch wood, touch everything.
I'm a migraine sufferer as well. It makes such a difference.
It's so weird because I can literally tell when it's starting to wear off, and I think, the headaches. Yeah. It's such a strange
There's so
thing.
many benefits. It's not just wrinkles, obviously.
But yeah, so as a preventative, I mean, some people go, I'm going to have it when I'm like 20 so I don't get any wrinkles. It doesn't really work like that.
I don't agree with that.
No.
I don't agree with that.
No.
I think maybe 30 plus start thinking about prevention.
But then everyone's different as well.
Yeah. So I had a girl, right, she was 18. She messaged me, said could she bring her mum with her, and she specifically mentioned Botox, and I thought, and I said to her, I don't normally encourage 18. That. 18.
Wow.
This was years ago. I says I wouldn't normally encourage that, but she said she was very self-conscious, could she come in, and she would bring her mum, so I thought, great, no problem. They came in. To be fair, this girl did have so many lines on her forehead, and she was wearing a cap. And she'd mentioned that she'd started a wee job, and a couple of people in work had mentioned it. I don't think they meant it cruelly or anything, but
they were
it
just
made
like questioning it, yeah.
And then she mentioned obviously that her dad was the same, so it was just the way they are. They had very animated faces.
Yeah.
What we call hyperkinetic muscles, so it's so thick and just constantly moving, and it's like folding a sheet, so she ended up with all these furrows, and she was only 18 and she wouldn't leave the house without a cap on.
Oh, bless her.
And explained the ins and outs, and explained why I tend not to do preventative until you're maybe hitting your 30s, and we agreed between the three of us that we were going to go ahead, and she was delighted. It was like a different girl. She was delighted, and I thought, okay, I'm fine with that, but there's a rationale for that, obviously.
That you must love that.
I love it, and it gave her more confidence, you know. But most of the time, I would say no, don't do it. Purely for, I'm more thinking about, it's like folding a sheet. You don't want to end up with the crease marks. You want to try and avoid getting to that stage if you can. But you'll also become immune to the medication, and then when you really need it, it's not going to work.
This is another thing I was going to say. So people think this works forever, but it doesn't.
No, you become immune.
Yeah.
And you've got two different types. You've got partial failure to respond and complete failure to respond.
Yeah.
And it's such a minefield, this, because all 5 brands are the exact same dose. It's not like paracetamol, you're only allowed to take...
You can't try different ones.
Oh, you could if you want, and there's good reasons to try different ones, but you're not getting a stronger dose.
Okay.
So there's a wee bit of controversy there, right? But it's like going in and buying ibuprofen, you know, a max you can only take 400 milligrams, and they won't sell you more than that.
Yeah.
But you could buy Nurofen that's got the caffeine in it, or the one that's got the decongestant in it, so you get a better response.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And that's the way Botox works as well. So you, with your 5 brands, when they extract the Botox from the botulinum bacteria, there's other proteins that live around it.
Yeah.
And they're called complex proteins, and they all live in harmony together and keep this bacteria at a stable state, right?
Yeah.
So when they're extracting it so that they can purify it in the labs, some of them completely remove all their friends.
Okay.
Some of them keep some of their friends in there, and some of them keep all of their friends in there, you know, so they're all different weights. Although you can only get 150 of the actual Botox strength, because anything over that's a lethal dose, so you can't get more than that. So all 5 are 150 kD, it's called, right?
Oh my gosh.
You're not going to get more.
No.
But some of them haven't had their friends that they lived in harmony with removed.
Right, okay.
So they appear to work better.
Right, okay.
Maybe they're just a wee bit more stable because you didn't take them away from their environment completely.
And see, I know people are going to ask this, I know there's certain people who ask this. Where does it go? Like, what happens to it?
Right, okay.
When it's in your body?
It denatures, basically. It goes in, there's a process called endocytosis where it finds your nerve endings, goes inside the nerve endings via endocytosis. It just goes through the membrane.
Yeah.
it's looking for a certain protein inside the nerve endings called SNAP25, and it cuts the heads off them. And it keeps going round the nerve ending, and it keeps cutting the heads off until it can't find any more.
Yeah.
And then it'll slowly but surely start to denature because it's not getting anything that it needs in there.
Okay.
And usually within 4 weeks, it is dead. And then exocytosis takes it back out, and you just get rid of it in your waste disposal system.
Right, so you sweat it, you pee it.
Yep, it's all coming out in your waste, But it can live in there for up to 4 weeks, basically.
Yeah, but people, that there'll be certain people who think, oh yeah, well, it's in your bloodstream and it's here.
No. That's why there's a wee bit of controversy with breastfeeding. Yeah. Because technically, if you actually think about what I just said there, there's no harm in breastfeeding. It's not going to get into your blood, it's not going to get into your milk. No. But you're not allowed to do clinical trials on breastfeeding mothers, so you just don't know. No. So nobody would ever insure you. Yeah. Because we just don't know. You're not allowed to practice on these people, so just stay away from it while you're breastfeeding. Yep, and you'll be fine. Give yourself a treat after that. Yeah. It's
so funny though, because I think, there's so many misconceptions out there. You're putting poison in your face, and then where does it go? It just lives in there, and it's like, no. Well, no, because
it'll go away eventually.
Yeah, it's like anything. Anything's just it's not gonna last forever. It's just, you're just gonna excrete it, like you say.
But we do have memory, we have muscle memory, so you are eventually going to become immune. It's like everything. If you keep using it, it's going to stop working. Yeah. And then
so I think like the takeaway from that is there's no specific age to get.
No, I think you should just work on a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And then so there's skin boosters, and you could argue that 20-year-olds shouldn't get skin boosters, but there's a beautiful skin booster out there called Neofound that gives you this beautiful wee glow. Yeah. It's got loads of nice vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in it. Yeah. And it's a good all-rounder. I wouldn't put it under the eyes, but you could just put it all over the face, and it's really good if you had, somebody's wedding coming up 2 weeks later. Yeah. Your skin would just look lovely,
Oh, wow, okay.
So maybe you could do that in a 20-year-old if that's what they want, and the risks are pretty low.
Because I know, like, in my 20s I had so many skin issues, and it came out of nowhere. It was really weird, but they gave me like insane medications and stuff, and you know what it's like, the doctors don't look at you, they just go, here's some pills. Do you know? And after, I lost so much weight on these tablets because you couldn't like eat 2 hours before, 2 hours after. It was insane. I think I had like 5 tablets a day or something. And then years down the line, because this is the thing, people don't question the GP, do they? They don't question it. And years down the line, I spoke to I was working with a guy, and he went, we're talking about it, he said, I had that medication. And he's like, oh, did you take it? And I went, yeah. And he went, oh, right. And I went, why? And he was like, oh, it's like
what would
pretty strong. I can't remember now. No, I can't remember. I'll need to, I'm sure I've got it written down somewhere. But it was funny because he said he'd had some in a drawer, and it had been there a while, and it had basically eaten through the drawer. It burnt a hole in his drawer, and I was like, oh my God, I put that in my body. But
I don't know what it was.
I know, I can't bloody remember the name of it now, but it was when I came up here. But it was like, I would get like they weren't spots, it was just like sore lumps, like, and I was doing and I was doing a lot of photo shoots at the time, and I was so paranoid about it. I would literally be like that. I would always cover my face, but people say to me now, they're like, I was with my friend, bumped into a girl in the supermarket, and she just kept kind of looking, and she was like, you haven't got any pores. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. But people go, oh, you just got great skin. Well, I've not always had great skin, and I don't do like crazy skin routines either. What do you think about that? Like people going, oh, I must do a facial and a this and a that and a da. Again, do you think it's case by case? Because I
think if you gave somebody more than 4 steps to do a night, they're not going to stick to it. No. So try and keep it as minimum as possible.
I would.
Would you?
Because I'm a bit of a freak.
Well, you're good. You listen to what you're told, but most folk will be like, oh no, that's too much like hard work. I can't be bothered. So I just try and give them maybe 3 or 4 steps. Maybe more if I really have to, but yeah. So
you do the skin boosters, and you do facials as well, don't you?
Yeah. Mainly I wouldn't say I'm one of these people that you come to sit and relax and massage and all that. It's more I'm working on something. What is your skin concerns, or what is it you're trying to achieve? You might not necessarily have skin concerns, but you've got a goal in mind.
But you're getting an all-rounder when you come to you. That's what I'm saying. It's not just invasive treatments. It's an overall fresh look. And you do. I've brought people to you, and I've been there when you've done a consultation, and you do say, so what are you concerned about? Or what are you? And then you've got such a good way of kind of giving your take on it, because years and years ago I remember talking to plastic surgeons, people like that, and you come out covered in pen, and you feel like utter shit.
Yeah.
You know, I never had anything done. I didn't have anything done till I was a lot older. The first thing I'd done was my boobs, which was 2019. So, you know, but it's soul destroying, and especially when you're a young person. So I always say as well, and I've talked on the podcast about this before as well, it's like if you're getting any kind of plastic surgery, things like that, always go to like somewhere, a hospital, not a brand. Do you know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I always just feel a bit more like they're on the side of caution rather than we can do this. You know,
and you'll know they'll have a regulator, so you know you can go to the regulator if you were ever worried.
Exactly. I love that. So
but I think when you're trying to tell someone what they need, not anything that some things aren't they're never going to be aware of that, you know. So you need to be very careful with what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. But you don't have I've never felt like, I mean, to be honest, you tell me to get out and you're like, you look fine, get out. Do you know?
You're not having that.
You're not having that, no. You literally would say that to me,
I do it all the time.
Yeah, you would say that to me. You're like, no, fuck off, you're not having it. You're not having it, I don't want your money, do one. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, but it is that thing. I mean, imagine having like, you know, I don't like to name and shame people, but she's out there, isn't she? Like Katie Price. Do you know what I mean? You would have, I think you'd have ended up chinning her because I think you'd be like, get the fuck out. I know. Because what?
And I do think that I love Katie Price. I've always loved her.
She's iconic.
And
I love her.
When you seen her when she was just starting out, when she was like 19, she was
beautiful.
Stunning.
I know.
And she still is.
Look at her daughter.
Oh, she's beautiful, isn't she? But whoever is doing this should be having a word with themselves.
I know.
They really should. They should. They're treating a vulnerable woman.
I know. And that's the sad thing. I think that's why I love her, because I just want to look after her.
She's just dead relatable, and she's not got a bad bone in her body, but she needs to be careful with who she's letting do these things, isn't she?
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
But then also, customers will come into me and say they don't like something, and to me, I think it looks cute, or it gives them their
personality.
And I go, does that really bother you? Because, you know, like the number one is bunny lines. Everybody else goes, I need you to get rid of these bunny lines. I'm going, what, those cute wee bunny lines?
Do you know what's so funny? And I never really noticed them before, but I've seen them, like, if I watch my lives back when I'm doing my Instagram lives and stuff, and I'm like, well, I kind of like that, actually.
Cute.
Yeah.
They are cute, but some folk really hate them.
Isn't that weird?
And I think, God, I would never have actually pointed that out to you.
No.
I suppose by the time you hit your 60s, there will be embedded lines, there'll be static lines at that point, but if it's important to you, then fine. But to me, they're cute. Or I will have the odd person that's maybe got a wee dorsal hump or something in their nose that they've always been insecure about, but to me it makes them who they are. It's their personality. It's part of their whole structure, but they really hate it.
And that's what you do. You zhuzh up the natural, which I love. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
It's fabulous. Okay. So have you got a random fact? Random fact.
So, a random fact about the aesthetics industry is it goes way back to Egyptian times, where the Egyptian queens would lie in baths of milk that their maids had made them up because there's lactic acid in it, and lactic acid's a natural chemical peel, so it exfoliates your body.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
do you know people are literally going to go home now and start lying in
the bath? Yeah.
What's it? Peels your skin?
Peels your skin. Yeah.
No
It's called
way.
an AHA, which is a natural acid that's found in foodstuffs. So it's in milk, and they would apparently aesthetics goes all the way back to the Egyptians.
Wow. Yeah. So what would your skin start literally peeling in the bath?
It's a mild one, so I think you would probably just get, you know, when you get sunburnt and you would maybe peel off a wee bit, kind of like that. I think it would be like that. It is a mild one, but it obviously still works. And we still use it to this day. I use it in clinic all the time.
Oh my gosh.
I don't use milk, mind you. I use it in a proper vial.
I was going to say, well, I'm vegan, so I don't do that.
Okay, well, put milk on your face.
I'm not going out and having a milk bath. But, you know, if you're into that, whatever. How weird.
I know.
Wow. See, we've always been trying to zhuzh ourselves up.
Always. Yeah. And the whole Nefertiti thing as well, you know, that's obviously an Egyptian queen. Like,
yeah, of course.
So we do a Nefertiti lift with Botox on the neck.
I need to talk to you about that.
That's why we call it the Nefertiti lift.
I've been saying this. I'm like, do you know, and the thing is, I'll talk about my insecurities. I don't care. But like, because obviously I'm on camera all the time, I just really, my neck is irritating me.
Seriously?
And other people, honestly, other
You
people
look
be like,
amazing.
oh, no, honestly, other people are like, you're mental. But I'm like, it's all I can see.
Really?
Yeah, it's just certain times and I think, oh no, my neck, oh God. But yeah, we've all got, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we've all
have.
got
We
stupid
have.
stuff that just does our head in, haven't we?
Yeah.
And what tips would you, I mean, I feel like we've given loads of tips, but what are your top tips, life hacks? Definitely aesthetically. I would say, I mean, for me, I think what comes from you is do your research.
Yeah, basically do your research. Go on to Healthcare Improvement Scotland's website. They've got a wee search bar in the top right hand corner.
Okay.
Put the clinic in that you're thinking of going to. If they're registered, it'll come up, and then you'll be able to see their last report, and it'll tell you all the things that the inspector found, whether it was good or bad. They're scoring different sections, different parts of your business. So that's all you need to do. Just go on.
We'll
see
put a
if it's
link
there.
to that. That's really
If
interesting.
it's there, read the report.
And yeah, and just, enhance what you've already got, honey.
Yeah.
That's totally your ethos, I feel like. And I think, just don't, just be safe.
Be safe and just be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. Also, before we finish, how can people find you?
Mainly through the Instagram, I would say. So
Yeah.
it's Secret Smile Aesthetics, obviously.
And then your website is .co.uk? Yeah.
.co.uk.
So
and there's
Secret Smile Aesthetics.
There's a wee, you can sign up there and it'll send a wee email to me as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got Facebook as well.
Yeah. And you've got Nicola.
And I've got Nicola, who I can't live without. So when you actually message, it's Nicola.
It's Nicola. Say, hi, Nicola.
Yeah.
And she'll sort you out.
She's just the backbone. She's so funny because I'm the one that likes to take my time and chat and all the rest of it, and she's got a system with everything.
She's on it. She's like, come on.
Yeah, so there'll be certain points of the day where she comes in and goes, right, no time for your shit, move, let's go.
I love her. She is amazing.
She's good. She knows
We
what
love
she's
you.
doing.
We love you, Nicola.
Yeah, we do.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.